Because you don't know, after heavy rains, you might find yourself underground.
Khutsong is supposed to be a place of peace. It was named to be such. But what Khutsong has come to characterize is a place of conflict, a place where people's lives is being neglected. The area itself now is being neglected, and from time to time there are people who are on the streets saying that, why are you leaving us behind? Why are you not delivering the services that you are delivering? So what comes to mind when the word Khutsong is mentioned to me is neglect. It's a government that has stopped caring. It's a government that has forgotten its own people. And that's something that I believe it needs to be addressed. There needs to be a government of the people existing for the sole purpose of uplifting the lives of the people on the ground.
This is Khutsong Township outside Carltonville on Gauteng's far West Rand, a place that an estimated 60,000 souls call home. The name Khutsong comes from a Setswana word meaning place of peace, something far removed from reality for the residents of this area. Apartheid government officials established Khutsong Township in 1958, but little did they know that beneath the surface lurked a deadly secret.
The rock type which Khutsong is situated on top is such that it accommodates, it swallows the water. So with the seismic situations that are taking place, the rock creates spaces from underneath, and as a result, when the rock on top becomes very wet, it falls down and creates some situations such as the one that you have just seen now.
Residents accuse authorities of not taking the threat seriously enough. Some 90% of Khutsong falls within an extremely high-risk dolomite zone. This means that sinkholes could swallow entire houses and their inhabitants without warning.
Basically, the government is only focusing on those people whose houses have been affected. And after vacating these people, or after making sure that these people move out of this situation, they reseal this place. But it is very unfortunate because at the end of the day, the situation still persists. As we are now going to be going to these other houses, the nearby houses, you could really see that the problem is not going to be a problem which is going to be addressed now.
One resident witnessed the dangers of a sinkhole in her neighborhood firsthand.
Started by a small hole. So ikula, especially when the rain is raining. And then kubanama shaking. Izindlu ziyashake zivibrate. Even obuhleli student okulele empedeni ubushukuma umpede. So uthola ukuthi silala sithukile yabona until ke thatha isikhathi njengoba khona bethi bayalungisa khona manje.
Elizabeth Jekula lost her home to a sinkhole, leaving her and her family in an even more precarious position.
Kwanethi imvula ebusuku bonke ngo-2013 nge-28 sika October. Kwafumaneka ukuthi imvula mayinetha njalo bekuloko kunesigodi apha. Ngokusamane siwela lapha ejartini gakuwele isigodi so kwavuka indlu iqhrekile nalapha ebaleni. So sathuthwa ebusuku ngabo 8 ngabantu bakamasipala ngelori. Basithatha basa e5. Safika kulo ndawo le ngabo 12 ebusuku. So oko basibeka kulo ndawo le kwatha izindlu zabantu. Sibe sihlala solanka singayenzi nix. oko sisihleli suka 2013 until now.
Dumisani Chabalala says he is forced to stay despite the risks. This as the promised relocations have been slow to materialize.
This house is my parents' house, but they passed on. So I remained with my younger brother here in this house. That was from 1970. It means it's about 48 years now we've been staying in this house. We are afraid, but we don't have an option. Because if we come out from these houses, they're gonna resettle us in smaller houses, and where's the furniture going to stay and such. So we don't have any choice but to stay. Every time we can hear it shaking, and we're afraid that it will fall over us. But what can one do? The municipalities knows very well, but they don't care. So just waiting for us to die. I don't know why.
Kuzong was reportedly declared a disaster area in 2012. Yet, residents complain that very little has been done about their plight.
Up until it will affect our so once ke tsamantse ke sheka e be go tsala e be go tlhokomela mo morago ga room yaka a dollar I think if it like how feel le botana so and then mo mo e go bona a crack I think mo le bot what ke litena di kopana nteng so e bona a crack e le ne ya ke ro ne khona bona motho go morago ka okay fine once go ya ga ntse ke important tsena ba go sena next etsa galang at the end of etsa ga go be so and then even le gona no go ntlong go lapeng ya ntsho because of it's a big house go lapeng so ke go bala go room go ntlong go ka mo e ka go ya le I think like eng ke tse score pata so ke bona e se khale go tlowela re itse go tloetsa galang.
In 2009, government officials inked a 2 billion rand housing relief project in Kuzong South. Afro Worldview reached out to Merafong municipality, which denied it is failing to act. Its statement says it is just not true that the municipality is not doing anything for people living in Kuzong. If a sinkhole develops, the municipality acts in terms of the emergency housing process. The municipality is not in a position to and is not liable to compensate homeowners for such damage. The process initiated in 2002 to relocate some people is continuing with development of new housing units around Kuzong. The municipality is managing the situation and taking action where needed to ensure the safety of residents.
Dolomite, it's a rock which falls under soluble rocks. So what happens is when it comes into contact with water, it dissolves. So when it dissolves, when underground, it leaves cavities, so it leaves space. And when you have heavy structures on top of that, it collapses, and that's when you get the sinkholes.
One of the issues with Mirafong is that because the pipes are not maintained and they are not, when there are leaks, the leaks are not fixed, the amount of water that the municipality loses goes to the region of over 40%. And people, when we say 40%, they think it's a small number. And we're talking about over 100 million liters that the municipality loses per week, you know. And this on the back of the amounts that the municipality owes both to Rainwater and also to Eskom, because they lose water, but they are also not managing their finances and paying for these services, the water and electricity. So this is a municipality that's hanging by a thread. The municipality must come clean insofar as the sinkholes in Kutsong is concerned. The municipality and the Department of Cooperative Governance in Gauteng must tell us who got the 184 million. Because it can't be that 184 million meant to rehabilitate sinkholes also disappears. Maybe it went into the hole as well. If that's the case, then they must come clean and tell us that the money did not disappear into the sinkhole.
Some even accuse government of a cover-up.
Yeah, if we trace it back, because this is a deliberate orchestration from the apartheid government when they relocated people from their areas to Kutsong in 1958. There were no geological studies to ensure that is this the area safe for settlement. So that is what they did before, deliberately so. Now, the problem of a sinkhole, the material which was used for pipeline infrastructure, it was a cement-orientated material, of which it cannot resist the vibrant activities of the mining industry. Now, when it's affected, it has the leaks. Now the leaks, they start to form subsidiaries. Subsidiaries now they extend it to a sinkhole because the area was not properly maintained and properly monitored by this previous legitimate government of the white people. Now the problem is that people are living with fear because the area is deteriorating each and every time. But we are addressing these issues with the government, of which is the ANC government. But there is no decisive action or decision with regard to a proper maintenance of the infrastructure.
Meanwhile, experts warn that further testing needs to be done before any construction goes ahead.
You can build on areas like that, but what you need to do before moving in is to do a dolomite stability report. That's where we come in. We drill up to 60 meters to determine the depth of the bedrock and to determine the stability of the rock. And then if the rock is stable, then we have to recommend a foundation for that area.
A construction company, KBO Projects, was contracted to fill sinkholes, but it remains a costly exercise with no guarantee of a permanent solution.
Once you've actually filled a sinkhole, it will probably not fall in the same place again, but it can form next to it because of the voids still in existence in the soil. Also, it depends on the rehabilitation method. Using concrete or using grouting, drilling and grouting, that's quite expensive. Using the inverted filter method, whereby you actually plug the hole. I should have said most of the sinkholes is like a funnel. It's shaped like a funnel. So you need to excavate the hole where the soil disappeared into, and that you need to plug. So you plug it with large rocks, with concrete or soilcrete in between, going from larger rocks to smaller rocks, and then eventually with soil. Otherwise you can pump in concrete which is expensive. The inverted filter method is probably the cheapest way, and it also depends on the extent of the hole. You know, you can get a hole the size of this table, 1 meter, but you can also get a hole that's 40 meters in diameter, and it can, as I said, can be 20 meters deep. So then it's millions. The main thing is you need to look at what caused the hole in the first place. And in almost every instance, it's water ingress, either a leaking sewer pipe, a leaking stormwater pipes, ponding of rainwater on a certain area, leaking irrigation pipes, as I said, water pipes also. So you need to fix those problems, and you need to maintain your infrastructure, your wet services infrastructure in dolomite areas, and you actually need to check the system at least once a month.
Meaning that underneath is nothing yet. Nothing. We started to reporting these cracks, it was maybe early last year. It was Molanyana cracks regarding the issue of the sinkholes that is happening here. Currently in 2015, we had a company that was here doing what you call a bypass pipe that was transforming water from rainwater to the reservoir, just because our community doesn't have water. But the company that was here, it seems that they never even doing their job according to the province. They appointed a company that is useless, that doesn't know how to do jobs. Now you can see how our area is being affected with the sinkholes. It's the larger ones. It started, this one, I can call it a magnitude sinkhole. It's not the other one like the previous one that we've seen in 519 Makrose. This one is bigger than that one. In 590 it started young, but now this one is started bigger itself. The government and TMR, they're only prioritizing health and education. What about the rest of the community in terms of infrastructure? Look how big it is, these things. It runs that side, from here, it runs big. It cracks all this place, meaning that the entire community is under threat. And we have raised this for quite a long time, and it covers even the cemetery. There are tombstones currently that are already being affected by these sinkholes. This one only. Some of our grandmother cemetery have been affected by this. Tombstone have been falling that side just because of these sinkholes. Now I'm asking my questions. The government will wait for this thing up until it falls. Then is when they are going to come and declare it as a disaster now. It's what we are saying as community.
And what's even much more worrying, you know, is the figures that we have received. That when we asked the department in terms of how much money, initially the community was told that 20 million was going to be used to rehabilitate the sinkholes. And then this amount went to 118 million. And then when we probed the department and the premier, the figure went to 184 million. And when we went there, because we wanted to go and see how much 184 million can do in terms of rehabilitation. And when we went there, it's like there's nothing. You cannot tell that if you go to where the Magwaza or the Chawalala family's houses were, that in there 184 million has been spent. And our next thing is to then ask where and who got this 184 million and what did they spend the money on? Because at the end of the day, these monies are what's there to assist with infrastructure, maintenance and development. So from where we are as a party and also as a member of the legislature, we cannot see the 184 million. And the community says they can't see it, and no one can see where it has disappeared to. Maybe because it's a sinkhole, it has sunk into the hole.
The government siyayivotela mara senzele niksi thina abantu baseMarafu yabona lonto le and into engiyaziyo ngiyazi into eyi-one i-government yamanje esiyivotelayo iwina ama-vote ngenxa yeMarafu City abantu bala sibaningi kabi yabona lonto le mara masidimande izindlu or indawo engcono kwindawo abantu abafana legislature basithembise into engekho khona manje bathi bazosithuthelisa sendaweni ngase-Velfortini bazozakhela nini kunabantu ba-aplya from 1996 izindlu akabazitholile izindlu
since 2000 ntse ke bona the same thing etsagala ga gona di-changes dintlo di a wela ntse go tshepisiwa batho gore ba tlo tswa mo dintlong a itse re bone batho ba tswa ba ya ko mantlong a mangwe a o ka tswa o kenelela o sheba re bolewa ke di-single roads tse dingata di-mine a re ba fe batho mesebetsi a gona ntho e tsagalang as changes development a gona next e tsagalang.
The question now is, are authorities doing enough to deal with the sinkhole menace? Because if not, it may take the loss of precious lives in Khutsong to expose the true extent of the danger.
Government must make sure that it started to listen to the masses, especially the Africans, because now the previous mechanism was a militant way, but that is not the only solution, or it's not ignored. We are capable as young people, if they want to see us again in our uniform, taking up arms to fight for our rights, and if we are arrested for telling or for advocating on behalf of our rights, we should remember that it's dark before dawn.
Khutsong is supposed to be a place of peace. It was named to be such. But what Khutsong has come to characterize is a place of conflict, a place where people's lives is being neglected. The area itself now is being neglected, and from time to time there are people who are on the streets saying that, why are you leaving us behind? Why are you not delivering the services that you are delivering? So for me, thinking of Khutsong now, having been there several times, if you were to say what comes to mind, what comes to mind when the word Khutsong is mentioned to me is neglect. It's a government that has stopped caring. It's a government that has forgotten its own people. And that's something that I believe it needs to be addressed. There needs to be a government of the people existing for the sole purpose of uplifting the lives of the people on the ground.
Mama Africa,
because you don't know, after heavy rains, you might find yourself underground.
Khutsong is supposed to be a place of peace. It was named to be such. But what Khutsong has come to characterize is a place of conflict, a place where people's lives is being neglected. The area itself now is being neglected, and from time to time there are people who are on the streets saying that, why are you leaving us behind? Why are you not delivering the services that you are delivering? So what comes to mind when the word Khutsong is mentioned to me is neglect. It's a government that has stopped caring. It's a government that has forgotten its own people. And that's something that I believe it needs to be addressed. There needs to be a government of the people existing for the sole purpose of uplifting the lives of the people on the ground.